Right. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
All right, hold on.
I hear that.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, I have to reset the Yeti. All right. Good morning, Annie.
Good afternoon. Good.
All right. All right, is Ramon back in? No, he didn't get in. All right.
He's going to get on his laptop and join.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. That was me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We'll go through this. We're going to cover a little bit of what happened last week and what I think is going to happen this week coming. These are just my thoughts, right? This is not financial advice. This is just for educational purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off so that we can get a little bit more screen room here. And then we can start covering something that I've seen. I'm going through some of this with some traders that I've known for a while. And we kind of feel the same way of what's going on in the market. And so here's what I see. And I'll go through some of the big giants. I call them the 5 giants. So that's Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Google. And you guys can see on the daily, we've had resistance here for a while. So Apple has been going down on the daily, but now it broke that resistance. So this is why a lot of people got kind of mixed up last week on, thinking that we were still going down, but we really weren't. But I'll go through a few of these so you guys can see the trend. So, for example, here you see Amazon, right? Same thing. Amazon is starting to flip on the daily. Microsoft, same thing. They broke resistance here on July 8th. Tesla is starting to break resistance. And then you have Google, who they are showing kind of an uptrend for a while here. So they're a little bit different. Something's going on with them where, a lot of people are starting to buy them. And so they're showing a good uptrend here. If I go to QQQ, I see the same thing, right? QQQ is going to do whatever Microsoft does, so it follows it because that's one of his biggest ETFs in there. And then we have NVIDIA, which looks like it's going to try to break that resistance. But then if I go over to NDQ, I've been following NDQ. If you guys know me, I follow it every day. Same thing with NDQ. And then if we look at the resistance here for a while, it already broke it. And then we look at the MACD, we're starting to flip. We actually flipped on June 23rd, and this is on the daily. So then if I go over to this regression channel, you can see that right around June 23rd, when the MACD flipped, it got past the midline. So if you guys are not familiar with the regression channels, I'm going to turn it off. And I'll show you where to find it on TradingView. You can come up here to your drawing tools, and it's towards the bottom, okay? And all you have to do is pick the highest point and to the lowest point, and it's going to go ahead and just map it for you. You don't have to worry about catching everything correctly, but if you study these, and there's a lot of great videos out there if you guys want to study regression channels, once you get past the midline, potentially it could break out. And you're starting to see it's starting to do it here. So NDQ is on its way up. We have XPX doing the same thing. I have a longer resistance line with them. And here's what I want to show you guys, because if we go over to, for example, Microsoft, and I'll compare SPX, kind of the same thing. So I can come over here and just draw me a line from about here, right? And you can see that SPX is well broke out, okay? But here's what I want to see. This green line, I want to see SPX, and I'll show you in horizontal lines. Right up here is some resistance. I want to see them go past that for it to be a true reversal where the market is going to turn, which I don't think it's going to. That's just me. And then you have another resistance line up there. So I'll turn this one off, and you can see that 39.46, right around that area. If SPX goes past that, it's got nothing to hold it until 41.78. Okay, so is the market going to turn? I don't know. If it gets past this point, you still have more resistance here, 43.07, and then we'll have another one here, which is 45.14. But these are big jumps if it does go, right? So SPY is another good one to look at, where we have, like I said, the short-term resistance. It's already broken, but it's going to have the same thing. So if you're playing SPY, this is the first resistance, which is 392, which I think is going to pass it potentially tomorrow or the next day. And then you have another resistance here, which is 417. Now, excuse me, if you get past 392, this thing can run all the way to 417 over the next week. So keep an eye out for that. And just watch out if you're going to play puts. I'm actually going to flip to calls this week, but I'm going to keep a close eye on these resistance lines. I want to make sure that gets past it, and I want to make sure that's really going to turn for a little bit. Now, I don't think it's going to turn and continue. And what kills this? If I tell you, hey, it looks like it's a good time to get into calls or get into puts, what kills this all the time is the news. So there's a lot of Fed news coming out this week, and then earnings, I believe, starts this week as well, right, Ivan? Or is it next week?
No, it kicks off this week.
So when companies start reporting earnings and they're not hitting the numbers that they said they would, you're going to see a lot of people dump their stocks, okay? So let's keep an eye out for that. Like I said, we see the same patterns here. Dow Jones, NASDAQ, even kind of Bitcoin, huh? But I want to show you something that most people don't look at. And if you guys want to, what I would suggest is you guys build a list of things to look for before you say, yes, I'm buying, or no, I'm not buying, or yes, this is an uptrend, or no, it's not an uptrend, okay? So I'll start with Apple, and I want you guys to see the MACD on the daily flipped, okay? But one of the things I look for is the monthly, okay? And if you look at Apple on the monthly, it's going down. So that's why I think that this swing is a temporary swing. I don't think that is going to continue for a long time. And then also on the quarterly, if you look at every 3 months, what's going on with the MACD with Apple, okay? So this is a little interesting that we have a small move up, but the MACDs have been going down for a while, okay? So I'm starting here with Apple, and I'll switch over to Amazon, and this is the monthly MACD. Then you look at Microsoft, Tesla, like everybody's going down, okay? Got NVIDIA, NDQ, SPX, SPY. So everything's going down, right? So let's say, for example, if I go back to Apple on the monthly and I come up here and I look at their candles, okay? I'm going to turn off these indicators. You can see that there's already a sell signal on the monthly, right? So if you bought somewhere up here, 159, right? If you bought some puts, if you're playing off the monthly, then you probably would have did okay with puts. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you guys want to have a little bit more confidence in entering and exiting trades, watch this, okay? Excuse me. So now I'm going to show you something that, and I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I'm going to share it with you. And that's these moving averages that I have up there right now is the green is the 9, the orange is the 5-day. I'm going to turn off the 9, and I'm going to show you the 5. Anytime any stock goes above the line, it's considered bullish on the 5-day moving average. Not the EMA, but the MA. Anytime it goes under, it's considered bearish. So if you want to know, is the market in a downtrend right now, or is it in an uptrend? Put your indicator up there, and you'll see that we're still in a bearish market. And then if you look at, we'll even look at the RSI, right? The RSI is headed down. But you look at the MACD, like we said, it's going down. And then on the 5-day moving average, we're under it, okay? Amazon is there as well. Microsoft, Tesla. And then we'll go down to NDQ. It's under it. SPX and SPY as well, right? So the market is still headed down. We go to, let's just say Apple on the quarterly. We'll see on the 3-month, it went down. So one of the things that tells you we're in a recession is that we had 2 months where we're going down. So this is why people are not believing that we're still down, because they're looking at the GDP. You have to have 2 bad GDPs each quarter, or 2 quarters consistently or consecutively for the year for you to be in a recession. But everything's pointing towards that. But just keep an eye on the monthly if you guys want to see if the market is really going to reverse. Now, of course, you can come back to your daily, and you can see on the 5-day moving average, we have 4 days that the market went above the 5-day moving average, which is showing that it has a bullish move, right, which we know. But if I go, this is what I like to do. I like to go to the 4-hour, and then I'll go to the 1 hour, and I want to see what's going on with the 5-day. And you can see it started dipping under the 5-day a little bit on the 1 hour, and then it's going back and forth on the 30 minutes. So we'll see. I think this will last for a little while, but just keep a heads up with the reversal. What I would do, like I always suggest on the 1 hour MACD, okay, keep an eye on that. That's when you know it's going to reverse. And you can see it's already touching there. Your histogram is red, or the first red bar. They're very close together. So keep an eye on the 1 hour, see if it flips. I think the market is happy, and some people are being faked out. But I think we'll still head on the downtrend, so be very careful when you're entering. This is a good indicator to tell you that maybe we're not going to continue the trend. One more thing. One of the things I started doing this week, okay, is looking at the 15-minute MACD and looking at that for entries. Now, sometimes it's hard because you want to get in quickly. You see the market going up, going down. I'm guilty of that this week. Ivan and I are probably guilty of a few times we thought we knew what was going on. And usually it works, but it didn't work for us, or at least it didn't work for me. And, I went red for a few days. But I think now I went back to my strategy. And I'm only entering on 15-minute MACD reversals, or my MAs, the 5 and the 9. So, for example, here, and I'll turn this on in case you guys want more help with this. Send me a DM, and then I'll make a short video on whatever parts you didn't understand here, okay? But if you look at, for example, here, I'll turn off the candles, and you look at the 15 MACD, right? It's not too bad. This is Apple. Apple moves a little bit different and faster than most. But if we look at like Tesla, right? Tesla had some good entries here. But like I said, the market was a little rough last week, right? Because it was trying to flip. But, consider 15-minute, or you can even go into 30 minutes. So you say, I'm only going to jump in when I see the flip or the buy signal on the 30-minute. So, for example, if you would have bought one option for Tesla here, and then you never see a signal again, you would have did pretty good, okay? So just keep an eye on that. The market is, like I said, going back and forth because people think that this is the bottom. I don't think it's the bottom just based off the monthly. But anyways, I thought I'd show you guys what I think is going to happen this week and what I think happened last week. And I'm going to post this in the room. I recorded this. Do you guys have any questions on any of it, or do you want me to look at any stock you guys are considering?
Hey, Coach, I get confused or carried away when the stock is just heading at the start of the day and then at the closure, the power hour. So in those scenarios, what time interval do we take for watching these MACD crossovers?
So one of the things that Ivan and I will do, kind of privately, one-on-one, we'll get on and talk to each other on the last hour. But I'll show you, for example, the first hour and the last hour, always remember they're risky, okay? There's no way around it. It's risky, okay?
Right.
So, I'll take QQQ here, and I'll show you, like, last week, if you look at, where's our last hour? Right here, the last hour, right? I'll highlight this. This is the 5-minute, okay? Now on the 5-minute, there was an entry here. Like, this is when the market's, if I know the market's headed down a little bit each day or a little bit up each day, like in the past, I always entered Microsoft when I played it when these two lines cross. See where it crossed right there? And I'm gonna set up a horizontal line right where they cross. Okay, and that's 295.79. Okay, and where I usually get out when I do that is when the 5 starts to curl. See how it's curling here? I don't wait for it to cross. When it curls, you get out. So look at that, 295.35, right? You would have made a decent amount there, just depending on how many contracts you bought. But that's how I would play the last hour. Now, if that line is not crossing, don't do it. I wouldn't. Now, let's look at the 15-minute. On the 15-minute, the line crossed at 2 o'clock for a buy. Okay. So let me get rid of my original lines. And on the 15-minute, where it crossed, 294.26, okay? And where it started to curl, 295.72. Now, if you know options trading, you could really do well there, right? Like, you could put in a couple of contracts and you'll get a nice return. And this is why I say, like, hey, the market is pumping. You're looking at things flying. Like, be careful. I would play on the 15 minutes. So you see QQQ here. Like, you have, okay, at 9:30 or 9:30 when it started, right? There's no signal there. Well, maybe there you have the sell. Okay. But I always wait the first hour. I don't get in. If I get in, I tell myself it's risky, and you should be ready to lose half of it. So, but here's what I will suggest. Let the first hour go by. Like I said before, usually between 10:30 and 11 a.m. is a good time to start looking to get in because that's when the market reverses. And you see that, right? 10:45, there's a buy signal. Okay. So then let's say you played it this way. And you said, okay, I'm going to wait till the 15-minute on QQQ when it crosses. Boom, 294.05 is my entry. And when this 5 curls, I get out at 295.92. Okay? Then, that's one entry, okay, which is not bad. Then you have another crossing here at 295.28. And then when it curls, 293.71. This is on the 15-minute. So you have to be very, very patient and wait and understand that this is going to happen. Now, that's 3 trades, right? Because we talked about this one, too, at 2 o'clock, that you could have got in and then it curled up here. So that's 3 trades you could have made that really, really would have paid off. So that's if you're willing to use that strategy, which is what I do, right? I also play big with SPQ and sometimes NDQ, right? But this is just straight. I'm going to buy a call. I'm going to buy a put. And you understand when this starts curling, you're out. Don't wait for it to cross because then you give up some money, right? Now, sometimes it's not going to curl like down here. You see the buy signal?
Right.
And then it went up and it started curling here, and then you get out and then it keeps going up. Okay? So that's okay because you still come out on top. You still made some money. And that's the hard part with trading that everybody thinks like, no, I'm going to wait. Now, you could wait. You could turn around and say, okay, I'm not going to get out when it curls. I'm going to get out when I see the cross, when it crosses again. And then you would get these big moves. And then you say, okay, it hasn't crossed, so I'm staying in. Then you would make that money. But to me, that's getting a little bit more riskier when you do it. I think this one here works, right? You're not going to see $1 million this year, but maybe in 5 if you keep playing one strategy and you stay disciplined to it. That make sense?
Yeah. Also, just probably add to it. Lately, what I'm seeing is, what I'm noticing is, I'm not too active, but as the market is moving sideways, like after first hour and before the last hour, most of it looks like it is just eating the options contract money. It's how I'm seeing. Maybe I'm not taking the right calls, but that's what I'm noticing.
So that's a good point. What delta are you entering with?
Mostly between 0.20 to 0.30, I guess.
Okay. So if you're playing the dailies, remember that expiration is coming soon. So then it's going to start eating your profits. Plus, if implied volatility starts going over, let's say 40%, then it's going to start eating it. Now, what I would recommend, this strategy that I showed you, try it with one contract that expires next week.
Okay, I see.
And see what happens, because now you don't have theta on your back. If you buy the daily, the only time I'll buy the daily is if I know it's going up like this right here where it crosses, and I know it's going up. Okay, let me turn on the candle. See what I mean? So right here, if I know it's going up, right, then I don't care about theta because I'm going to get out in about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, right?
Okay.
So that's where you don't really care about it. But the other part is, if it's really eating it up, then try using one that is maybe next week, right? And then start growing your rewards that way, and you'll see it pays off. I did it for a long time with Microsoft. Like, I was known as the what did they call me, Ivan? Was it the Microsoft King? Because I always played it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mhm.
But that's what I would do. Now, if you guys are working, so here's what I recommend also for full-time workers or full-time students, switch to the 30 or to the 1 hour, So for example,
Okay.
QQQ, here's my buy signal, right? But here's where it crossed and it's headed up. So July 1st, I buy QQQ, and like I said, if you buy it for next week, you just let it ride. See how it went all the way up? Okay. Now, if you look at the candles, they go up and down, but it's still going up. But let me show you something. On the 1 hour, if you would have entered here and you just let it go, and you're working, you don't have time to see this all the time, right? So just come up
Yep.
and set an alert,
Okay.
and just do it whenever. Let's say, for example, your EMA, right? When my 5 crosses, oops, hold on. So you got the 3 EMAs here, right? I have 3. So if you see here, the first one will be my 5, second one's my 9, third one is my 180. So I would just set the alert, and I'll say when the 5 crosses the second one, which is the 9, send me an alert. And then you can put a message for yourself here to go check, go check QQQ, right? And the alert, you can call it crossing, 5-9. That way, when you see it on your phone, you'll say, okay. And if you look up here, see it says create alert on QQQ 1 hour. So you can create those kind of alerts. So when you get it, you're like, oh, it's a good time to get in. You go look at the chart and you say it's going up. Or if it's going down, you can buy a put. And this alert will tell you, hey, it's flipping back. Then you go in and you say, okay, I got to get out. Okay? So you can do that on the 15-minute. You can do that on the 30-minute, that kind of stuff. Now, I'll show you over here. If you look on my chart, see, these are my alerts over here. See them?
Yep.
See, like on the 15-minute, I have an Amazon cross. See the red cross? So I want to know. So when I get that on my phone, the red makes me go look quick, right? And then I also have Amazon 1 hour. When they cross it, 9 and 180. That's another thing I play for swing trading, right? And then I also have Amazon 1 hour MACD. So when the MACDs are flipping on the 1 hour, I want to know about it because it's a good time to get in. This way, I don't have to stay in front of the computer watching and watching and watching, okay? Now, if I'm at home, I'll use these, my 5 minutes, when they cross, and I just put a little death cross, little skull there to kind of give me a better visual of which alert it is. But see, you have Amazon 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, when it's flipping, I'll show you here, okay? Like, I want to know this is happening, but this is just if I'm working from home and I want to trade for the day and I want to get into these entries, right? So let's say, for example, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries that I could have got in, right? And this is QQQ. But it's up to you, whatever your style is, whatever your work life looks like or school life. I always recommend do the 1 hour and start there. See how easy it is here? Buy signal down here, sell signal up here, then another buy signal. And you don't have to worry about anything until your alert goes on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when we look back, yeah, it does make sense. So do you apply these resistance levels along with the MCAD crossovers, or is it just, yeah, what I'm trying to understand is like, that's where, right, just the MCAD crossovers, yeah, at least when the market is just going sideways, or in the recent months that I'm watching closely, I feel like um, I'm just not comfortable with that. Do you want me to add resistance lines along with it and watch over that, or?
Here, here, look at this. Look at the candles. When you look at the candles, it looks a little bit uglier, right? Because then you're like, okay, this is hour by hour. Because if I say, okay, I got the crossing here and then a sell signal, okay? See where it crossed right there, and then my sell signal turned on here. But where I got in, let's say I got in here, it's 293.12, but then it went up. See that? It went all the way to 295.61. So what do you do there? Do you get out? No, because it hasn't crossed the line. And you have to be disciplined to not let this scare you right here. And then all of a sudden, the next hour, it just drops to 288 right there, right? And remember, if we play it this way and you got in up here, let me get a pointer to show you. So if I got in here, that's 292. But then it went to 293, and then it went down to 288. So at 293, okay, up here, some people will want, 295, some people will want to sell because they'll be like, oh crap, it's going up, but your moving averages haven't changed, right? As a matter of fact, if I do this, I'll show you. Just come over, look at your MACD. Your MACD is still getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the downside, right? So you have to be disciplined to, if I get in here, don't get out there until you get a signal that these two lines, the orange and the green, cross. Now, the next hour it goes down to 288, and you're going to be thinking like, oh, I need to sell it, right? Again, you don't have the lines crossing. You didn't get an alert. Why? Because it's still going down, 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 right? Now, when do you take profits? That's up to you. That's up to you. So this is where I recommend to traders, 5%, start with 5%. You learn how to win at 5, then go to 10, right? Then maybe 15. But you have to be disciplined to your strategy, right? You can't let these things scare you because you miss out on all of this here, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else from anyone? You want me to look at any stocks?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm gonna put this in the chat group, and then we'll talk tomorrow. You guys have a good Sunday.
You too.
See ya.